You know when I first heard about Korea? When they drafted me in the Army. We went into Fort Knox, Kentucky there, where they sent me down to take my training. I had 8 weeks of infantry and 8 weeks of armor. And they told us right away, you guys are being trained for the Korean War. Well, that's where I went. I was one of the younger ones drafted out of Ogle County because they was running out of older ones. I was 20 years old. And I missed home, and I missed my brother, my mother, my sister and stuff. They pretty well sold our idea that we was needed. Of course, we didn't know when we took basic training where we was going to end up after basic training. I don't know what it was from the day I went in the military. Every time we changed places, I went somewhere where I didn't know nobody. I always had to make new friends. It was good in a way, but I missed the guys I took basic with for 16 weeks. When they would move me from one location to another, I never was with anybody that I ever seen before. I always had new sergeants and all that stuff too, which I wasn't bad. But I asked him about that, how come I says, is there something wrong with me? I smell or what, He says, nothing wrong. He says, that's the way it come out on the charts. Somebody go here and somebody there, The Army didn't want me to ever know anybody else. I always had to make new friends every place I went. I had to make new friends. I didn't have no buddies left. We went by boat. We slept 6 floors down. It was a little scary the first couple of nights or so. And if anything would ever happen where you had to get out of there quick, only about 10% would ever make it because it was full. All the beds were double deckers. And the guy up above you, if he wanted to change clothes or do anything, you had to get into your bed. The guy below, just the opposite, because there wasn't that much room. It was pretty tight fit. 3,000 guys got on that boat. There was not one of them I knew. I should have been nervous, really. But a lot of them guys I served, took basic training with them. I'd say 80 or 90 of them, they ended up in Korea, but I never seen them when they got there. And we went to Japan for 3 or 4 days, then back on the boat again, and then went up to Korea. I was left off at Busan. That was the lowest city in South Korea. I was scared, just like everybody else was when they come through there. Took a couple of days. We had to go through division headquarters. What was the 45th Division? We had tents, pup tents, the ones you roll up and carry on your back. That's what we slept in for a couple of nights until they figured out what was going to do with us. That's when they moved them and things. I never got to see any of them guys again. They moved them to different companies, tank companies and things. I went to Baker Company because they needed replacements in there. They said, you'll probably make it, Snyder, because you're in a tank outfit. I had an assistant driver. There was 5 people in the tank. We had 90mm guns on the tanks. After the recoil, the shell always dropped in here, and it was about that tall. When it was full of lead and everything, it was all you could get to get it on your back sometimes. That was the assistant driver. That's what it was his job, to sew them out this little hole. That's how we survived. And I threw quite a few rounds out through that. Them things would be red hot too. So, if you fired about 2 in a row, the 4th wasn't going to be hotter than hell. So I mean hell, too hot. We didn't go into cities and stuff like that. You were supposed to be on line on duty, because on line you're 100% day and night, Some days we didn't do much of anything. We'd sleep under all day, but we'd stay up all night patrolling. We was firepower for the infantry. We tried to stay with them in areas. Sometimes we'd go out on calls with them. It was a killing man's job doing that stuff. You always had to bring bodies back to show them. Well, I seen off and on for a full year because I was within 3 miles of the line. I got up as far as the 38th parallel and they wouldn't let us cross it. I've been in positions where I could look and see the gates and everything up there, but we didn't dare go over there. they'd probably shoot us. I ended up sergeant first class. Some of them officers, they'd take me back in the tent and they wanted me to stay. If I'd have stayed another year, I could have got a second lieutenant. I'd have probably retired as a colonel or something in the service, but I didn't want that. It wasn't because I didn't like the Army, it was just, I didn't want to do it. I moved up the ranks real fast, but you do that, here's the guys who's getting killed and stuff. I had about 200 guys, and they tried to keep up, pay us, our rank. Well, I had part of my check sent home because I knew I wasn't going to need it. Well, I didn't need half of it anyway. And usually about once a week, one of the sergeants or something, they'd have to go back in where there was a post office. They'd put them in there. Sometimes it took a week to get them out. My mother would write from home. Sometimes it was 14 days before you'd get it. I liked the packages from my mother and some of the other ones, because they always had cookies in them. I'd say 35 below is about the coldest it got, but they said 40. But it got cold. It was cold. And they had a lot of snow and things. I was lucky. I was in the second year, but the guys who was there the first year, they hardly had any winter clothes. Because I had a couple of friends from Byron that come back. Their hands and stuff shows where they'd been froze so much, and stuff with that cold weather. It was pretty if you was a little ways away from it, but a lot of that all got knocked down because it was bombed and so much the trees and things were gone. But some of that stuff I kind of forget now too. Just telling you was going to get to head for home, that was memorable, But otherwise, because most of the time we didn't know what was going to happen from day to day. Some areas, he was doing it 7 nights a week, going out on patrols, killing the enemy as many as you could, different things. And some of them maybe once or twice a week they'd hit you hard, You'd have to fight back. Most of the time we fought back and stuff. Well, sometimes they told you had to bring something back to show you'd been there. I didn't like that. Very seldom I did that. I'd take him if you have to take him. Hell to take a man's life. That's hard. He might have shot at you 5 minutes before that, but it's still hard. I'll tell you that. I've seen a lot of nights I didn't think I'd ever make it the morning. That's because I was in position for a lot of rounds that's coming in. Either artillery, their enemy artillery, or their tanks or something. I've had 2 tanks shot out from underneath me. I was very lucky. About the only thing they had to stop us was shoot into where the tracks and things are, blow them out. Well, then you had to get somebody out there in the open to fix them, It'd kind of shake the tank up. And then 2 or 3 nights, I slept in the tank. But we slept in there because they blew the track off, and here they was coming. So what I would do is I would call in rounds and bust them about 50 foot of artillery shells, about 50 feet above the tank. That kept the Koreans from getting in from the outside. I think it was 2 or 3 nights it was that way, locked in there. That was scary. Most of the guys, like I say, they was like me. They was wanting to get back home. Because I was glad to get out of there. Well, would you like to have somebody shooting at you? You couldn't go to the store. Us guys, we didn't get to do anything except try to shoot somebody. I didn't enjoy shooting people. And there was a few times when I lost guys that I knew for years, not years, but just months. It was just like they were brothers to me. That was rough. Go out there and carry them guys in. You ever carried some man's head in and nothing fastened to it? I did that a few times too. That's rough. Yeah. That's probably the roughest part of the service. Just taking care of your dead and stuff like that. Hot summer weather, you had to get the bodies out pretty fast. But in the wintertime, I helped stack them up There was, I went back with a truckload of them, guys that was killed. And this was the middle of the winter, they were stacking them up. It was an old corn crib. And it looked just like logs when they got done there. And I wondered, because sometimes I'd ask, do you ever do anything with this? No, we haven't did anything, but they waited until spring. But they didn't smell or anything. They didn't cause diseases. But that was rough, even driving down the road and look over there and see that. Usually by the time you get to your year end or so, I don't care what branch of the service you're in over there, Army, Navy, or what, you're going to have some time that it's going to be damn rough. Because it was the idea that every minute of your life, some devil's looking at you. It might do something. It affects their mind so bad. I don't think being over there affected my mind. Maybe it did. I used to kid about it sometimes, but I don't think it did like that, because I was able to do work and just like I did when I went in, you know. When they told you was going to get to come home, the first thing we thought about, are you sure we're going to make it home? Because a lot of times you'd hit with shrapnel or something, and there's some guys that they got killed or hurt, wounded bad right before they was getting ready to leave, you know, and stuff. Yeah, I thought about that part a lot. Till we actually got out of Korea, then you could say, well, there's a good possibility I'll get home if the boat don't sink. There was about 8 or 9 of us from our battalion came home same time. When we got ready to get discharged, when we marched off the battlefield, they took our rifle, I carried a .45 on me. We turned in everything that we had on, all the clothes we had on. And then they run us through a shower point, give us clean clothes, and then we went and waited, sometimes 2 or 3 days you would, somewhere close to an airport where they get a plane in to get them out. They got me home in about a year. It was joyous, I'll tell you. Yeah. Yeah, it was joyous. I was glad to get out of there. About them days are gone now, so.
Hello, my name is Renee Voegeli, and I had the honor of creating Don Snyder's documentary. I was given this opportunity through the Harlem Veteran Project, a high school class that creates documentaries for veterans so their experiences aren't forgotten. I'm extremely grateful to have been a part of this class and have had the opportunity to make this documentary that I'm so proud of. While creating this doc was extremely time-consuming, I'm so grateful to have put so much time and effort into preserving Don's story. Thank you, Don Snyder, for your service and for telling your story.